Guys, I'm taking a great risk today as I descend from the rolling hills of Westbourne into Bournemouth jungles again. These jungles, they are dangerous, as you well know. Now, gone are the days when all we had to worry about was nature, when all we had to worry about was wily pterodactyls and such. No, the threats now are much more serious. Even the Belgian monks don't seem that much of a threat nowadays compared to previous times. No, the big threat in these forests now are what the monks unleashed. Now, you probably recall that the monks were performing high-energy physics experiments in their monasteries and inadvertently pierced the barrier between our space and the void and unleashed a number of void beasts into the forest. Well, that was an unfortunate turn of events, but of course those void beasts were few and far between. Nowadays, however, things have changed. The void beasts, after overpowering the monks and forcing the monks to retreat to their monasteries, established a bit of a foothold in the forest. And of course the void beasts, separated from the void, immediately started trying to find out ways to regain access to the void. Now, luckily for us, they've not managed to create a stable portal yet, but they have managed to keep portals open for short periods of time. And while we might have hoped that they'd have made use of these short-lived portals to return from whence they came, no, they've in fact done quite the opposite. They are using these small portals to bring forth reinforcements into our domain. It seems they are hell-bent upon conquering this domain and having it for themselves. Of course, it would be naive to think that the Belgian monks holed up in their monasteries weren't up to something in response to the void beast threat. No, in fact, my sources tell me that there is much activity in the monasteries. Now, it seems that the monks were not put off at all by their piercing the void and inadvertently allowing these void beasts through. No, if anything, it's made them more determined to continue their regime of high-energy physics research. It is rumoured that they are trying to develop a weapon of great power that they can use to gain their own foothold in the void. It seems that they're quite intent upon taking void territory for themselves. Now, we know very little about the void because of such short-lived portals, but the monks have sent through, apparently, according to my sources, a number of probes that, for the duration they were able to keep the void portal open, even just a small amount to receive telemetry from the probes, they've been able to determine some quite fascinating things about the void, not least of all that the laws of physics that we take for granted in our reality are in fact not all that similar to those in the void. It's somewhat of a puzzler that the void beasts are even able to exist in our reality, which of course presents a very big problem for the monks should they wish to exist in the reality of the void. But research efforts continue. Now, knowing what we do know about the laws of physics that govern the void, we do know that the energies that exist there are certainly very dangerous to people living in our reality. Now, the principal mode of observation of this has been the attacks that the void beasts have made upon people in our reality. Mostly on the monks. They have suffered the greatest losses to bring us this insight. Now, we know that when concentrated energy, directed energy, which they seem to use as a weapon against us, comes into contact with matter from our reality, we know that it significantly alters the way that matter is made up. It turns the matter quite strange. So one of the chief challenges that we would have if entering the void would be, how do we protect ourselves from those energies? Now, the monks have been experimenting with a technology which I suppose is best described as a force field technology. The idea being that by erecting an energy barrier around a space, you can keep the void matter and energy out of that space. I call it void matter. I mean, it's certainly not matter in any sense that we would understand matter. But yes, the idea being you would create a bubble of our space around the portal that you created into the void, with a view that bubble would protect you and allow you to exist in that space. Now, the biggest challenge, of course, is going to be keeping the void portal open, or being able to reliably return to the same point in void space from the same point in our space. Now, the chief challenge with this seems to be that whenever one opens a void portal, even if it's opened in the same location in our reality, to pinpoint precision, it opens up onto a different area of the void. So there's one set of challenges the monks have got to overcome. Guys, I'm going to try and get a bit of a height advantage now. See if I can get a good point of visibility where I can scout out over the plains. I feel I may be being tracked by a group of void beasts. It's not a good feeling to have. For many people, it's the last feeling they ever have. But I'm going to see if I can get some vantage, figure out where they are, and maybe make preparations to strike against them. I think that car park is full of the blighters. We're going to have to get a bit more altitude, go for a bit more height between us and those void beasts. What we really need to do is to get closer to some big bodies of water. Now, the void beasts seem to not do very well with water, vapour. Not really sure what it is, but they shy away from it. They move away from water and water vapour and humidity in general. They seem to be okay, just in general, with the ambient, typical humidity of this part of the world at this time of year, but no, they don't like large concentrations of water. And it's unclear whether or not they have any way to protect themselves against it. Now, one thing that the monks have observed is that the void beasts have little to nothing by way of tools and equipment. They don't, have the idea of clothing, armour, tools as weapons. Their own entity is their weapon, effectively. They're unleashing a great void energy. But we postulate maybe this makes them somewhat vulnerable when some kind of counter-agent against them is discovered and can be deployed readily. So we have hope for that. But guys, while this is a truly fascinating time for science, a genuine new frontier and an opportunity for discovery and learning, perhaps more fascinating is what's going on in the political space. Now, Belgian monks, Belgian citizens of Belgian heritage operating on British soil in this manner unchecked. Well, the British government is scrambling to reassure its citizens that there is no threat, there is no risk to human property or life and that the areas affected are contained and small in scale and well signposted. And so they're hesitant to get involved. They're saying that the problem is the Belgians to solve. The Germans have agreed with the British government and are saying that it's a Belgian problem to solve. But what are the Belgians going to do? Send an expeditionary force of their military onto British soil? The Belgians outgun them anyway. So what's the point? The French are saying it's a British problem. The Polish, well, no one really understood what the Polish person was saying, but it's probably a very strong opinion. Just look at the damage to this bench. That looks like a void beast energy burst caused that, and no denying it. One of the most frustrating facts about this entire debacle is that the seemingly hostile incursion by the Belgians, they seem to be the best ones to solve this problem, and yet there has been next to no outreach from anyone. To my knowledge, that there's not been any representative of Her Majesty's government or the armed forces or even the police reaching out to the Belgian monks to try and cooperate with them to deal with this mutual threat. I myself was down at a local Belgian international school meeting some children for the potential spy programme, and they were saying to me not even their headmaster has reached out to the Belgian monks, and they were very, very disappointed at that. So they were asking me, what did I know about the situation, and I know next to nothing really, because all the gag orders on the news reporting about the Bournemouth Jungles void situation 2016/17. It's very frustrating indeed. But fear not, guys, for I am fearless in the face of adversity and will continue to bring you up to the minute, frequent, once a year updates on the void incursion situation. I shall risk life, limb and high water if I have to. Fear not, you will be kept informed. So guys, thank you very much for watching this informative video today. I hope it has shed some light on some important issues that I know are central to many of your lives. Do feel free, of course, to leave me a comment below, and I do look forward to seeing you in the next video, guys. Until then, guys, goodbye. Forget the void beast threat. From what I can tell, the biggest problem at the moment is that it's hot as bone out here. #hot as bone is the kind of thing the kids say nowadays.